My name is Jimi Izreal. James, but no one calls me James that doesn't know me well. Everybody just calls me Jimmy. That's what I prefer. Uh, and by profession, you mean what I do for money every day? I'm an academic every day, but I'm a writer by compulsion.
Thank you so much. And how long have you worked in this field of
But
education and writing?
uh, too long in education. I've been writing my whole life. I've been writing since I don't know. I probably wrote an essay when I was 5 years old. I got published in third grade in in the newspaper. So uh, I got I guess I started getting paid to write. Um, I don't know, maybe 15 or 16. So
Can you tell us a little bit more about your early life, a family background, favorite teacher, but those individuals who led you by third grade to make that decision that you would be a writer?
no, actually, I can't because that's not what happened.
Oh,
I was writing, but I didn't say I wanted to be. When I was in third grade, I wanted to be a fireman because I mean because I didn't know any writers. I didn't know any firemen either, but I knew the firemen worked for a living, and I just presumed everybody wrote well. So I didn't want to be a writer. I just wrote out of because it's what I had to do. I Charlie Brown actually inspired me to write because Charlie Brown, in a lot of Charles Schultz's in his strips, there's strips about him writing, and I thought I had a pretty compelling story to tell, and so it made me want to write. So, but nobody encouraged me at that age. It would be a long time before anybody ever suggested to me to write for a living. It would be a long time. I would be in my 20s or there or near my 20s before somebody suggested to me to write because the idea of writing for money just seemed so crazy because nobody writes for money. No one writes as a job. Because I mean, that's not real, is it? Because I certainly didn't know any, and all my family are hand workers. My family are all blue collar. My grandfather worked at White Motors. My dad worked at Bobby Brooks back when Cleveland was textile popping like that. My mom did something or other. She worked at Bon Court, which isn't too far from where we are. And yeah, and my other people did other things, but nobody writing. So no, I can't answer that particular question. But I can tell you that my first grade teacher, Miss Harris, was the first one that told me that I wrote well. Miss Harris, God bless her, told me that I wrote well. I wrote exceptionally well. She didn't just say you write well, you write exceptionally well. And then Miss Jones followed up later, and then sadly Miss Jones was murdered. Um, yeah, it was a news story, and that was very sad. But she was the first person to give me any kind of encouragement as a writer. My family, certainly my mother's family, actively discouraged it. My dad's family were like they were gung ho about it, but my mother's family actively discouraged it, and probably discouraged it to this day. I mean, they're not readers. So
did you attend school in the city of Cleveland?
I went to Chambers Elementary School in East Cleveland, Ohio, which it was at the time and remains one of the poorest suburbs in America, and certainly Cleveland. Yeah, this was during like the Carter years. Jimmy, not Billy. But, yeah, or June. But yeah, during the Carter years, when you could be poor and still be like reasonably well appointed. I mean, yeah, you didn't. It was okay. You can be poor and dignified. Back when I lived in East Cleveland, the neighborhood was a neighborhood. I mean, people watched after me because after my dad left, it was just my mom was one of maybe two single moms on the block. So that's where I grew up. I grew up at 1308 East 143rd Street, off of Hayden. I lived up and down. After the Hardys moved, we moved into their place. So because the Hardys owned the house, and then after they moved, they built a house over on Forest Hill, Shout out to the Hardys, Danielle, Kim, Denise, Pat died. And then when they sold the place, then shortly thereafter, my mother took her Section 8 voucher to Shaker and applied it to a home that my grandmother bought, which is still there, but it's not ours. So I lived in East Cleveland. I went from living, if you've been following, I went to living in the poorest suburb in the nation, and then went to go live in one of the richest suburbs at that time in the nation. It was, I think something like, well, it was at least one of the richest suburbs in Ohio at that time, for certain. It was a top 5 suburb at the time. So
Okay. And during your childhood years, were you or other members of your family actively involved in cultural arts activities? For many of the writers that I speak with, they're voracious readers. Was that you also as a child?
no,
No?
yeah, my father's family actively encouraged um, my that piece. They actively encouraged my intellectual curiosity. My mother's family don't know from Shinola, and discouraged me from reading. If it wasn't Jehovah's Witness related, or Jehovah's Witness adjacent, or Jehovah's Witness, no. Mm-mm.
Do you know what attracted your family to this part of the country?
Yes, work. The same thing that attracted other people's family to this part of the country. A lot of my people are from Pennsylvania, and some of those people came here to the southern part of the country as miners on the Kentucky border, and then what brought them here was there had been a need for all manner of domestics here, and as well as the auto industry. So on my father's side, my grandfather Buddy came here and was for a time a chauffeur of some, and then his wife, my grandmother, she was a domestic, and then they both found work. They both found work in he found work in the factory, and she found work working for the feds, doing the payroll. And on the other side, my mother's mother, who was a single mother when she landed here, I believe she worked at the sweater factory for some time, which is not too many blocks from where we are. And because she can't read or write, or she couldn't read or write then, she can't read or write now. So that's what she did. And then she latched on to a fine gentleman, James Pace, who would come along and help her parent what were at that time 2 children that weren't his, and then there were 2 more children later, and then but yeah, what brought them was work, and he had my granddaddy James Pace had a beverage delivery route that he was working with some white guy, some white distributor with, and he would drop off pop mainly, but some liquor I think, but maybe like pop, like quarter water, Mr. Juicy and all that type of stuff. Yeah, he had a route that he would do, and he had a van. First he had a station wagon, then he upped and then got a van, and then got more, so that was his thing. That was his thing.
Okay.
So.
Mr. Izreal, may I ask, in your work as a writer, have you been able to travel to other parts of the country or the world? And if so, can you tell me a little bit about that journey?
I toured with the book a bit, and that was traumatic because I got to meet people that were hadn't actually read the book, but were of the book, The Denzel Principle. Hadn't actually read it, but were flummoxed and really angry and upset by the premise, or what they believed to be the premise. And by the time I came off the tour, I began to realize that what I had so blithely put together is kind of like a tongue-in-cheek memoir that kind of experiment in different kind of prose exercises and it's that or a third. You know, I hadn't really put a lot of thought into who might feel like it was aimed at them because it was actually aimed at me. The book is aimed at me. The book is very self-referential. It's very much about what a loser I was and how I like to people ask me about it. I say, you know, it's really the law of attractors factors for dummies. It's like if you're an asshole like I was, you're gonna meet assholes. And there's just no way around it. I mean, that's the whole book. I mean, I just saved you 350 word read, 50 page read. That's the whole book. Like when you're a jerk, you meet jerks. But when you get your thing together, but what I came to find out, because the book is subtitled "Why Black Women Can't Find Black Men," and as it turns out, black women really want that answer, and I had no idea. And it's easy for me to, actually, I don't laugh about it at all anymore because women would come to me in tears, like, "How could you write that?" And how could you write that about me? How how could you do something so vile? And people that hadn't read the book labeled it misogynist and woman, and it's like, have you read the book? Do you even know what misogyny means? Number one. Number two, have you read the book? And the great most of the people hadn't even read the book, and it was just that I hadn't realized how very serious that women being paired or finding someone to pair with was for women. And when I got off the tour, I did like a few. I did Atlanta, I did L.A., I did Chicago, did New York. I needed security. I needed security at those dates because would literally attack me in Vegas. Literally, they attacked me, and I got to see how very serious it was, and it was upsetting. So, and also, I'm not a book salesman, so I'm not. I think I did one or two dates here, but I'm a writer. I'm not a book. I'm not here to sell the book. So, to answer your question, maybe that's the answer to your question. Maybe I went a few places, but nowhere to write home about. So,
Okay. And what can you tell me, please, why you've chosen at this point in your life to live and work in Greater Cleveland?
uh, because I'm the patriarch of my family. I mean, there are other men, but you know, not so you notice. You know, it's like I'm the family Michael. You know, because every family has a Fredo, you know, and a Sonny, and then there's the Don. You know, but the Don's dead on both sides of all sides of my family, and all that's left it seems like it's Fredos. You know, so I'm the Michael. I gotta carry water. You know, I'm the responsible guy. You know, I'm the guy that I'm the daddy. You know, and I'm also literally the daddy. I have 3 children here. They're all grown, but they haven't quite. You know, actually, all 3 of them are here. One of them's elsewhere, and then 2 of them are here. Um, so the one I'm speaking to, I'm trying to get him together, and then there's my daughter. You know, but the short answer is family. My aunt was very sick, and my grandmother was very sick. So after my wife died, or while she was dying, actually in hospice, she knew I was trying to get out of Cleveland because we were in D.C. And she's like, listen, she's like, after I'm gone, she's like, go home. You know, I'd already spent like $50,000 in lawyer fees trying to get custody of my son. And she's like, stop. She's just like, just go home. So I went home. So I came home for my children, specifically in that particular case for Jalen, and then he lived with me and up until he turned 18, and then like that. So I'm giving you all these lengthy answers, but the long answer is family. Yeah, I mean, I hate this town, and this town hates me. I mean, I've done a great deal in this town. I've done a great deal, but I'm not from this town. I mean, I've been on NPR, but I've been on the local NPR very little, and only as the black guy. That's it. And they think that's hilarious, but it is the fact. If you go through their archives, our black expert here, the black, and you know, only on black topics. You know, and I've been published in just about every newspaper, every major newspaper in America, but locally maybe once or twice. once or twice, maybe, and about some black shit. And it's like, oh, only because I'm the black friend. I'm the black friend that happens to have been on NPR. So that also gives me like a stamp of approval. Oh, he's safe. Yeah, this town hates me. And this where we are at this moment and that's one of the reasons why it's humbling, and I'm really grateful for it, because this is as much attention as I've gotten for my work in my life at this town. But yeah, I mean, Cleveland really eats its intellectuals, certainly its black intellectuals, and they show how much they appreciate its black stars by, like, eviscerating them. It's like when, I don't know if you remember when LeBron got signed, like the week after, the big news lead was like, who's his dad? It's like, this is how Cleveland loves you. So I don't have any love for this place, and I own property here. So it's all practical reasons, not because, and the dollar, yeah, I mean the dollar goes okay here, but all practical reasons. I don't have any grand love for this place at all. Zip. So, aren't you glad you asked?
Mr. Israel, is your story, and I thank you for sharing it with the rest of us. But well, you talked about your success as a writer, certainly, and being published in many, many major newspapers. Is there a word that best describes your work? We believe you when you say that it's publishable, but is there a word, an adjective that would really describe your work and its appeal to readers?
Authenticity. I think. Yeah, people describe me as authentic, and they describe my work as authentic, and they mean it pejoratively as well as complimentary. It's been some time where I've been interested in what people think about me or anything I have to say. I am so, no, not vested in anything anybody thinks about me. So I don't lose anything by telling you the truth. And I haven't, and I felt, and that's how I approach my work as a writer. It's like, why fool you, and why try to rub your back, tell you it's going to be okay, or why try to tell you what you want to hear, or what you're expecting? Why don't I just tell you exactly how I feel and just be honest about it? And I think that's been my stock in trade. I think that's how I became a pundit. I think that's how I got on NPR, because my opinion wasn't predictable. Because I'm not predictably left or right. I'm not toting the black line. That's not who I am. I'm just Jimmy. I'm just Jimi Izreal. Whatever that means to you. Some people that means I'm a misogynist. Some people that means I'm a racist. Some people that means I'm a race man that loves women. It's like, it depends on who you run into that day. There are some people think I'm a feminist, which is like, wow, that's so crazy. I love that. I love that for me. But like a different kind of feminist, obviously. But having said all of that, authentic is I think is the best word to describe my work, and that's the way it's always been from the beginning. When people talk about you, people say, "Oh, you're keeping it real." It's like, well, keeping it real. It's like, what are you keeping it? It's like I only know how to keep it real. Whatever that means, I only know how to be authentic, or not say anything. There was a period in my time, like maybe during my first marriage, which my book alludes to, the Denzel principle, by the way, where you can get it in the English-speaking library or bookstore near you. St. Martin's Press. Anyway, not too shabby. But I allude to in the book that there was this time in my life, certainly during my first marriage, where people just always shutting me down. Like it discouraging me from saying anything. And my mother's people were very much like, it discouraging me. They were anti-intellectual. If I said a word with more than 3 syllables, they what does that mean? And I want to say, F you. Yeah, it's so bad as a kid, and I should have. But today I will, like in a heartbeat. But what I'm getting at broadly is that I felt like so many things about me that were great were suppressed. My personality, my masculinity, my individuality, my right to opinion of my own. People discouraged it, it's probably because I'm black and because I'm male, and because that's what we do with young black men, which is that's a different video. But yeah, we don't encourage black men to have minds of their own. We encourage black men to be subject to every criticism, and just be happy to have a plate of food, if we decide to give you a plate of food. So I decided a long time ago that wasn't for me. I'm not answering a lot of questions. I don't give explanations for what it is that I do. Like, for instance, people ask me, why do you have a stick in your mouth? Which I think is the craziest question I've ever heard. Why are you asking an obviously grown man about something in their mouth? I'm like, my stick is in my mouth, minding its business. What are you doing? And, you know, and so, I mean, and right, exactly that. Like, it's like, I don't know. I just, my approach as a writer is just all, and it gets back to, I think there's a real danger in suppressing somebody's voice. You get a Jimi Izreal. You get the person not now. Oh, they won't shut up. Yeah, you spent the first half of their life like telling them they couldn't talk, and now you're in trouble. You asked for this. You bought this ticket. You bought this ticket. So yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean actively. I mean, like foot on neck. You like shut up. Like people would tell me to shut up. And even in grad school, a woman tried to say, you know, men. She was in the elevator with a black woman, and it was a white woman in the elevator too with me. And she's like, you know, black men are so much better when they're quiet. And I wanted to smack the false teeth out of her mouth, but I did not. And because there was a white woman there, if the white woman had to have been there, I would have dressed her down at that point. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna let her have this little feminist moment. But she'll get her grits later. All this to say, if you want to, as a writer, you can lie to, as a person, but as a writer, you can lie to everybody but the page. And me myself personally, no, that's not me. I don't lie to the page. And maybe that's what makes me good. You know, is that I refuse to lie. I'm not going to lie to the page. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm going to lie to the page. You know, I don't lose anything by being honest to you or the page. So maybe that's again my stock and trade, that I am authentic, and my work is authentic, and that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to be honest with myself. If it hurts, then I know I've said something. If it hurts me, if it hurts to write, if it lays there on the page bleeding, then it's like, yeah, I did that. And I'm okay with that. If it's like, yeah. I remember, like, I opened up my book in the first chapter of the book. I do like an inventory of my flaws, and one of my flaws I say at the time, I've handled it since then, flagellant, you know. And my agent calls me, and she's like, you're absolutely insane, aren't you? You know what? She's like, I can't believe, flagellant? Really? I said, well, I had to be honest with these people, who I am. That's who I was. I'm not flagellant. Y'all looking around like, oh, no, I've handled that problem. But at the time, it was like, yeah. And I also wanted the reader to feel, I wanted the reader to know I was vulnerable, that I'm opening myself up. This is as honest as it's gonna get. And as you guys sit across from me today, this is as honest as it's gonna get. I'm not on. This is me. Part of the great thing about being a writer is that you're never good. And if you think that you're good, then you just should stop writing. I mean, because I'm just trying to be good, and I'm trying to be great. You know, I'm trying to be immortal, and there's no other reason to write. So I don't know that I'm successful yet. I don't know that I've written anything that will outlive me. I don't know that I've written anything particularly. I've written some things that are okay, but I don't know if I've written anything great. And so I don't know. That's why I was like, what is the metric for success?
Well, in listening to you,
Yeah.
over the course of the last few minutes,
Yeah.
I heard you talk about the authenticity and the writing. They're just sort of there on the page, bleeding.
Yeah.
And if you experience that pain and the blood is there in the writing, you say, yeah, I did that.
Okay.
And for me, it seemed that you were suggesting that that's a measure of success. You know, if you've been authentic, you've expressed yourself, and you have something that you're pleased with because the authenticity is there?
I finally reached a place in my life where I can take the chains off, and I'm not afraid of anybody. Uh, that's what the pen did for me. The pen made me fearless. So if that's the metric, I'll take it. Yeah, the pen made me fearless. It's all bets are off at this point. So, but yeah, so and that yeah, it made me because I've been so afraid to be black and male. I've been so afraid to have an opinion. I've been so afraid to speak my mind. I've been so afraid to be free. I'm not afraid of those things anymore. I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm not afraid of anybody, anything. I am free. I am free. So if that's, I'll take that as a metric. And my Mercedes, which is paid for in full. Yeah, the trappings of success.
Yeah, I was
But
fortunate.
but but I digress.
Yesterday, I had an opportunity to speak with another writer. It's finishing up her latest book. And she said when she's writing, she doesn't read anything else.
Mm,
Yeah, it's just her work that
mm.
she's focused on. And I'm wondering if you have a style that allows you or time to read other writers, or where
I
are you
better.
now? How does that process
I,
work
I read
for
I read
you?
everything from Iceberg Slim to like Samuel Beckett. Last thing I really enjoyed that I really liked was The Mothers. I forgot who wrote The Mothers. Bennett, her last name. I forgot her first name. Brilliant. And I also read a book. I read a lot. I read a lot. I'm trudging through right now Temple of My Familiar, because it's dense. It's dense, and it's like, oh my God, it's too dense, and I'm gonna have to put it to the side for a minute, because it wasn't written for me anyway. It's written for you all. It wasn't written for me. It is very much a woman's experience. And I find a lot of books I read, because I'm trying to in the current book that I'm writing, I'm trying to crawl inside a woman's persona and write from her perspective. And so I'm reading a lot of Alice Walker. I'm reading a lot of Toni Morrison. I know that's a little on the nose. Forgive me. And even The Mothers is on the nose. I forgot the young lady's name. She's gonna hate me. I emailed her and everything, and I also read an Eloquent Rage, which was like, ugh, but totally worth reading. Totally worth reading. My homegirl Jamila is writing a book. Jamila Lamo, she's writing her book's dropping in a year. Go get that. Single black woman. Anyway, but I read everything. I read everything. I'm writing now, and all writers should be reading. I don't know that I get inspired by anything that while I'm reading, while I'm writing. I mean, when I wrote the Denzel Principle, I was reading Joe Esterhazy, The Devil's Guide to Hollywood, and I think that might have informed. That almost certainly informed the form of the book. It informed why I wanted to experiment with different kinds of prose style. I didn't want to just write a straight book of essays with some manner of moral at each end of every chapter. I didn't do that, much to the consternation of my publisher and my agent. Shout out to Monique Patterson, who she actually edited the book more or less. That's another video maybe. But that said, I was reading Joe Esterhazy, Clevelander, and that book had just dropped, and The Devil's Guide to Hollywood, while I wrote the Denzel Principle. So that definitely influenced the way I wrote it. So.
Mr. Israel, we're coming to the end of our time
I know you're
together.
like, thank Jesus, yeah.
I'm really enjoying this. But I heard you say also that you are an educator. And so you in the classroom, how do you get all of this into one semester? Or is it a workshop usually that you're leading, or a semester-long course?
It's standard. I teach the standard fare, different places. I've taught English, I've taught journalism, I've taught film. I taught a course on Harvey Pekar, our local laureate, not poet laureate, but just local writer. Really enjoyed him a great deal. He was a friend and a mentor. And I haven't lectured here on Ernest Tideman, but I lecture other places on Ernest Tideman, author of French Connection, Pale Rider, and more famously Shaft, the Shaft series, the 7 novels, which is Shaft Among the Jews, Shaft in Africa, Shaft, and the rest. Which I can't remember. Goodnight, Mr. Shaft. All the Shaft scholars are gonna like smack me for not being able to reel them off the top of my head, but I can't right now. So I haven't had coffee, so I don't know what you want from me. Without coffee, I'm not shaft. I'm not shafting before coffee. But yeah, I teach the normal stuff. You know, writers, if you want to eat, it's like Baldwin. Baldwin taught it at Bowling Green for a while. It's like, yeah, you got to do something between the books. Even Baldwin had to do something between the books. You know, you got to pay for that. You know, Johnny Walker read some kind of way. That's what Baldwin drank. So I drink black. If any of y'all buying for real. So yeah, Johnny Walker Black all day.
Well, thank you again for sharing part of your story with us today. We are looking forward to greeting lots of other amazing writers and teachers during the 50th anniversary convention for the National Association of Black Journalists. And
I can't overstate how very humbled I am to have been asked. Uh, like I said, the city is just giving me nothing, and to have this honor is amazing. Thank you.
well, before we conclude, is there anything else that you would like to say on the record?
I love that. I love that you needed to remind me, as if I can't see all the lights, that this is for the record. So be careful. I love that. Um, no, I mean, beyond the fact that I am sincerely, no matter how glib it may seem that I'm being, I'm moved, and because I don't have fond memories of this place, of Cleveland. Cleveland is just not. I mean, I've spent half more of my life trying to get out of the city than I have trying to live here, and now that I feel like I'm here for the duration now. I mean, almost certainly. Um, and it feels good to be seen, as the kids say. You know, it feels good. It feels good to be seen.